Welcome to the Merlin Crypto Market Update located on the X app. I'm Abs, the host and senior engagement officer at Merlin, and today's episode features a replay from our Merlin X Spaces. Every other Tuesday at 8:30 p.m., you can catch us live on the X app at Get Merlin Crypto. We dive into captivating discussions about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology with our engaged audience, special guests, and the founders of Merlin. Please note, these spaces can sometimes experience technical hiccups and end suddenly. It's all part of the experience. Thanks for tuning into the Crypto Market Update, proudly brought to you by Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto.
Welcome to tonight's X Spaces from Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. My name is Jeremy. I will be the monitor this evening as well as one of the co-hosts. I'm the Chief Finance and Operations Officer for Merlin. You can follow me on social media at Age of Jeremy. Your host this evening, as always, is the amazing Abs, Merlin's Senior Engagement Specialist, and also the host of the Good Morning Crypto Show. The Good Morning Crypto Show comes to you Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. Eastern from the 3T Warrior Academy YouTube page. You can also follow Abs right here on the X app at 3TGM Crypto. These spaces are brought to you by Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. Not only can you use Merlin to track your coins across wallets and exchanges in one simple, secure app, Merlin also allows you to set up the exit strategies for your coins so you know when it's time to sell. And not only can you manually add your coins to Merlin, you can connect to wallets, exchanges, and blockchains. Head on over to merlincrypto.com and hit the connections tab. You can see all the connections we have available along with all of the connections that are on our roadmap so you know what's going on and if we have what you need. We have recently also added the following wallets: Zoom, Ellie Paul, Trezor, and Solodex. Merlin continues to grow because it's the smartest way to track your crypto. Please follow Merlin here on the X app. You can also follow us on LinkedIn at Get Merlin Crypto, on Instagram at Threads and Merlin_crypto. Here on the X Spaces, we enjoy debate, but please keep it family friendly and please be respectful. We want these to be an inclusive atmosphere because we're going to open it up probably in about 30 minutes, 40 minutes to everybody to join the conversation or to ask your questions about cryptocurrency, the economy, and Merlin if you are one of the users. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any they represent. And tonight we're going to be talking about XRP and BTC only crypto assets that have clarity. So I'm going to kick it over to your host, Abs. Abs, take it away, sir.
What's going on, everybody? Johnny Crypto. We got a lot of exciting news to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about BlackRock, Bitcoin, XRP, but Digital Asset Investor was just added back to Twitter tonight. So there's hope. There's hope, community. There's hope for freedom, Johnny. I want to start off with some good vibes. So what do you think about that news? I don't think you'd heard it yet.
No, I didn't hear it, Abs. And first of all, let me just say good evening to all the war maniacs and crypto maniacs out there tonight. No, I didn't hear. Everybody's been fighting for free DIA for a long time, and it's awesome that he's finally back. He shouldn't have been gone in the first place, and freedom is certainly something that you can see how important it is. So welcome back, DAI. We're happy to have you back in the community. We miss you. We love you, and it's good to have him back.
Mario, I see you're joining the space as well. Welcome in, my friend. How you feeling?
Good evening. I'm feeling good, man. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's had a great day. 44,000 for Bitcoin. So that's a milestone right there. It's been a while. So I'm feeling excited. Hope you're all doing good too.
Yeah, guys, and I'll give you a quick rundown of the prices for tonight. So Bitcoin is currently $44,000, up 25% on the 30-day. Ethereum's 2,300. XRP is lagging behind. It's down about 9% on the 30-day, sitting at 62 cents. Solana, $63. Cardano, 42 cents. We got Chainlink also doing really well, sitting at $16. I'm not going to go through any more tokens, but I think a lot of people are focused on the fact that the market is pumping and XRP is not moving at all. Maybe we could start off right there, Johnny. No, obviously, no clarity for crypto, but we got clarity for XRP. Yet all this positive news does nothing for the price. Dispel the rumors. What's going on? I don't know what's going on.
Johnny Crypto, are you available, sir?
My phone wouldn't let me unmute Abs, but I'm back in business now, so I think we're good. The interesting thing about that is, there is a lot of valid concern of people when you look at XRP and you look at all the bullish news that's out there and you look at the partnerships and the number of trees they have and the fact that, it's the only crypto with regulatory clarity, I should say. And yet it's a stable coin. I mean, it doesn't move. That sucker is rock solid, between 50 and 60 cents. And the whole market's moving and this one isn't. And that is going to bring people's, and I see it. I see people commenting to me on Twitter all the time, or X, whatever these days, saying, Johnny, I've been in this thing 5-6 years. I'm getting frustrated. I'm tired of holding on. And unfortunately, what's going to happen is people are going to sell out, probably a few months before something actually happens. But it is fascinating, Abs, to see the whole entire market move, and it doesn't. But the way I look at it is there is still a shit ton of money to come into this space. And if you've held this long to XRP and you believed in it, and you're just getting tired because you're missing other opportunities, then maybe you take some of your bags and you split them up and you diversify, which I always am a big fan of anyway, of diversification. But I think it's one of those things where you want to wait until a full flood of money comes into this space. I'm giving it this full bull run to see what happens this next time, right? I'm not going to panic. I ain't selling a penny of it. I'm holding on to it, but I'm not just looking at that. You got to look at these other opportunities. There's so many opportunities, Abs, in the gaming sector, in the smart contract sector, in the AI sector, to play that the money's going to flow through all those. And for me, it's just going to be sitting there and let's see what happens now that the monkey is off, XRP's back, when we hit a next full-blooded bull run. Because the last one, we all felt it was held back because of the lawsuit. This bull run is going to either confirm that the only reason why it was held back was because of the lawsuit, or it's going to validate that this thing's just not moving at all and it wasn't the lawsuit. We just thought it was. We're going to find that answer out in the next 1 to 2 years.
And I do feel like this time around, there's more opportunity for altcoins than there was 4 years ago. I drew this correlation today on Good Morning Crypto, Johnny, but I compared the 2017 market cycle to what we're going into right now. And it's a lot more similar than 2021. 2021 was Bitcoin driven. There was no utility. There was a lot of speculation about, are we going to get these assets actually doing things? Will smart contracts enter the market? Will companies start using these technologies to enhance what they already have? Obviously, that wasn't the case, but 2026 and beyond, we're going to see central bank digital currencies start to be implemented, and that inevitably creates utility for currencies like XE and XLM. So we're no advocates of CBDCs here, but we understand the inevitable. If we got a profit off of that, I think it's an opportunity. So Mario, I want to ask you, we got XRP or Jenna X joining us as well. I'm going to bring her up here. But what do you think, Mario? Do you believe that this cycle is more similar to 2017? Because remember, this time around, BlackRock, JP Morgan, all these big financial firms inside and outside the USA are ready to start purchasing these technologies and using them for what they're built for. That changes everything. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think every cycle is always going to be somewhat different as far as the narrative. I think as far as I'm expecting kind of the same thing as far as price action. We will see a run from Bitcoin, and then we'll see Bitcoin kind of consolidate sideways, because that's what it's always done. So I'm going to expect the same thing. But as far as the narratives, it is going to be different. I mean, we have now all this institutional interest for the first time ever. And so I'm pretty sure that's going to play a part in the market. I am interested to see, obviously, the market capitalization, how much it's actually going to take it into play. I know a lot of people are, we were expecting to reach somewhat the $5 trillion mark. I actually had an interesting conversation today with somebody that is confident that by this time next year, we're going to be at 10 trillion. So although that gets me excited, my spidey senses start tingling that that's probably not going to be just quite yet. But yeah, I'm interested to see what this cycle brings, because every single cycle, I only got involved in 2017, but I remember kind of the narrative around in 2017, in 2021. We already had the ETF narrative, but it wasn't to the point that we're at now. Now we have an ultimate confirmation, which is BlackRock. So I'm interested to see what that's going to do in the market. Are we really going to get this massive market cap or money flow into Bitcoin specifically because now there is an ETF product being offered to investors? Or is that just going to be kind of a distraction, and we're really not going to see anything major? So I'm waiting to see there. But what I'm personally looking at, I am just looking at what happened in the previous cycles. I'm going to expect much of the same. I'm thinking we're going to reach somewhere between 4 to 5 trillion, because that's kind of what the data tells me. Of course, adoption and utility can have a massive effect in all this, but I think most of crypto is still in kind of the speculation phase. We're yet to see really that utility come in.
Jenna, welcome in. First of all, thanks for joining GMC this morning. How are you feeling tonight?
Hey, thanks, Abs. I am feeling awesome. Awesome to get to hang out with you guys again today. Tuesdays are a lucky day. But yeah, no, I'm feeling great. Thank you.
What do you think? I want to get your thoughts on this really quick. BlackRock and Bitwise filed for an updated application at a spot ETF. They raised $100,000 to get the paperwork filed at the SEC. This is officially in the works. I'm thinking first quarter of next year, we're going to have a Bitcoin ETF in the USA. What's that mean to you, Jenna?
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Abs. I definitely, I'm on the same wavelength. I think first quarter we're gonna have the ETF approved. It would be amazing to have in January and whatnot, but I'm just ready for these explosive gains and everything else that's gonna come with it.
What do you think for altcoins? Do you think there's still massive opportunity just off the ETF news?
Yes.
Will altcoins move as well?
Yes. Oh my gosh. We haven't even begun to see the altcoins explode yet. Like, we're just seeing little pops, right? This is nothing. When you zoom out, this is nothing. Like, it's just showing you need to be alert. You need to find your gems now, the low market cap gems, especially like gaming tokens. Johnny and I were talking about this a little bit ago. I definitely I'm very diversified into those because, once they just start like pop, 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 you're going to wish you had them. And, I could have kicked myself in the butt. Crypto Seth told me a couple weeks ago about Ordi whenever it was $8. And he's like, Jenna, I'm telling you, Bitcoin scaling solutions are going to be huge. And I'm like, yeah. Well, I was waiting for it to come down when it was $8. I'm like, oh man, it pumped. Well, that $20, I was like, well, man, it just pumped. Let me try it. And to 40, and now it's 60. And I'm like, okay, so now we're to the point where I'm just going to have to trade, perpetual futures on it, but that's fine. But it's just like, keep your eyes open, but so many things are popping, but we still have so much time. But it's like, if you need to shuffle around and make these decisions, you just have to be doing it now.
Spot on, Jenna. And I want to give a shout out to Gonzo too, because we were talking about this next market cycle. And what's so interesting is it feels like 2024 is about to be a super bullish year for crypto. But if you look at previous cycles, 2025 is set to be the peak of the bull run. And November of 2025 is exactly when you can pinpoint the next cycle if we see something similar from the past. But Johnny Crypto, it's been a while since we heard from you. What's on your mind?
Oh, first of all, I'm going to give a shout out to our girl Jenna. Thank you for joining us tonight, as always. Great to have you here. I agree with Jenna that the gaming space is actually the one that has me very excited. Abs, as you know, all you guys who know me know how much I like the gaming space. I think there's going to be a huge opportunity there, but she's right that also, I was actually part of listening to that show when she had Crypto Seth on, and he had talked about the gaming space, talked about scaling solutions for Bitcoin, and there's a lot of opportunities out there. So people just have to be diversified. That's really the key to this coming up. And Abs, you said something important. Like, it is weird where everybody's getting all excited and pumped up, but we are early into this kind of bull run phase. When you think about what's happening, typically the kind of excitement you're seeing right now usually is in the beginning of the real bull run, and we're not even at the and that is usually after the halving, and we're not even at the beginning of the halving yet. So that is this is different. And I've always felt, now that the big boys have got their fingers wrapped around this thing and they're bringing it into real world, the big boys are playing, no longer us geeks. It's a different game. You got BlackRock coming in with that ETF, and that's going to change and legitimize the whole industry. And if you don't believe me, just start looking at your phones, because like today, in the past few days, all I've been getting is messages from my friends saying, holy crap, Johnny, I should have listened to you. I should have bought Bitcoin. Why didn't you tell me Bitcoin was going to go up? They were joking, because I've been telling them for 3 years it would. Yeah, and that's the problem. Like, I told them, like, don't get in it right now. I mean, let's wait and see what happens here, because everybody's getting excited and pumping. But the reality is, I'm not sure if we're in the beginning of the start of this thing, or are we going to get a kind of buy the rumor, sell the news effect when we do get the Bitcoin ETF, whether that's early, some people are predicting the end of this year, some people are predicting middle to end of January. And because everybody is, maybe it won't happen in either one of those two. But when it does come, Abs, don't be surprised if we see a dump before we get then the real buildup of utility of it as it becomes a security, and then institutions start flooding all their clients into it, and then you see a delayed massive run up into then the halving that's coming. And boy, those are going to be two big catalysts for crypto market.
Yeah, but you make some great points. I think the most important thing is that it feels different. I can speak from experience and just going through multiple cycles. This doesn't feel like 2021 for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't want to say the word, but C19. That's a huge narrative that people forget about that happening in 2020. Not only did Bitcoin go to $3,500 during that crash, up until it broke all-time high, I believe it went from $3,000 to over $20,000 in only 6 months. So we saw a massive wick down. We saw Bitcoin bottom out, and then everybody was locked in their homes, and trading went through the roof. That goes for small stocks, large cap stocks. It went for Bitcoin, and then it obviously went for the altcoins. But what I think is different this time is XRP products, altcoin products are going to enter the market. This is something I haven't seen any other crypto talk about, Johnny Crypto. The fact that they're going to offer these baskets of altcoins, like we've seen it at Grayscale. This isn't conspiracy talk. Grayscale released a document, I think it was 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago. They were showing a basket of altcoins that they were going to begin offering clients. And it was Solana, Cardano, Litecoin, Filecoin, a couple random ones I can't remember. And that gets me excited because we talk about XRP and XLM. There's going to be so much opportunity in other tokens as well. That's why we need to plan to take profit here, guys. If we're going to see these tokens do a 10x, a 20x, a 50x, Cardano did a 100x in 2021, went from 3 cents to $3. We need to take profit this time, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So I don't know, Johnny, if you want to address anything I just mentioned, because I think this time around, institutions are not only going to buy crypto, they're going to hold it and offer it to investors to earn a yield.
Yeah, Abs, I would love for you to tell us and our community how you're going to be taking profits. What are you going to be using to do that?
I'm getting this new, very innovative app that I like to call Merlin. But guys, I'm done with the cheap plugs. Let's talk about the reality of why I use Merlin. It's the only application that lets me use an exit strategy. I can go into Merlin, select exactly where I'm going to sell at, and see what my profits are going to be. People talk about $589 as a joke, obviously. You don't need $589 XRP to make profit in this market. We are at 62 cents today. The opportunity is sitting in front of us. And let me just break down one more thing. In the last 5 years, Bitcoin went from $6,000 to where we are today, about $44,000. Ethereum went from $210 to about $2,300 today. XRP went from 50 cents to today, 62 cents in the last 5 years. And you're going to tell me that's not suppression, manipulation, SEC lawsuit? I'm going to close my ears and not listen because I've got too much evidence in front of me. But that's what catches my attention. That's Merlin, Johnny. I want to hear from other people.
You mentioned $5.89. I'm sure Jenna would agree with me. We'd be happy to see $5.89 out of right. But let me say this in case you don't all know. Let me just throw congratulations out there to our girl Jenna, who just got engaged this weekend. Jenna, congratulations.
Thank you, Johnny. It was very unexpected and super excited. Thank you.
Well, that's awesome. And hopefully we'll get just the opposite. We'll get something like an expected run in crypto and in XRP. I mean, because boy, it has totally been a unexpected performance. I think everybody thought, Abs, that XRP would be set free and we would actually see this thing doing something. But whatever is holding it back, boy, I can't wait for the day when they decide to unhold it back, because that's when you're going to think spring load and launch away.
So you don't believe it was the lawsuit, I'm hearing? No?
Well, like I said earlier when we started the show, we're going to find that out in a year or two. We're going to find out when we get through the next bull run. If we're still sitting, trying to break all-time highs, trying to even get to $2, then you're going to know that, no, it wasn't the lawsuit, because we did that the last time when the lawsuit was there. But if we start to bust through and we see we're testing all-time highs and we're going higher and higher, which the chart looks like it's building up to do that, then you're going to say, we're all going to agree that, it was just being held back and manipulated. The thing that doesn't make any sense now is what's stopping it from, why is it not moving when you see a lot of money flooding into this space? So just look at it this way. We've been doing Good Morning Crypto Show now for a year and a half, right? And about 6 months ago, as we listed the market cap every single day, it was $1 trillion. Today we're at today I think you said we're at 1.5 trillion. That's $500 billion that came to market, and none of it found its way to XRP.
It's actually more. It's even worse. It's
Yeah,
700.
thanks.
We went from 800 billion to 1.5. So
Yeah,
it's
so we
double.
doubled. So we doubled the amount of free cash flowing around, finding homes in this space, and barely any of it went to the only coin that has regulatory clearance. What does that tell you about? It has me wondering. I gotta say that much. But yeah, I want to give a shout out to our man Echo. I see he's in the house. If he's available, come on up, brother. We'd love to hear from you.
Guys, you want me to combat Johnny's take because he's throwing a lot of XRP hate out there. If you want me to defend XRP, it's a pretty simple argument. But Jenna and Mario, it's been a while. You guys take the floor. Let's start with Jenna.
I am just now. I'm listening to you guys and I'm trading. I'm shorting everything that's pumped like crazy today. So that's what I'm doing.
That's a smart girl right there.
Mario, what about you, bro?
Yeah, to build up on what Johnny was saying, we have seen like a double in market cap. A majority of that, if not all, most of it, has gone into Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin is kind of what's driving the hype or the price action that we've seen lately. Yes, of course, other cryptos are also taking some of that market cap, but I think a majority of it has gone into Bitcoin. And Bitcoin has, this over decade now. Like a branding. I mean, the name Bitcoin is widely known, and that's what's kind of driving the market. So now that we have this clarity for XRP, hopefully we start to see a more positive spin in the altcoins, and XRP kind of takes charge as the leader of the altcoins. We'll have to see what happens there between with Ethereum, but Ethereum is kind of that second best, like second most known, and so I think that's the reason why we haven't really seen like crazy action from some of these altcoins, as you mentioned, Abs, XRP. But at the same time, I still feel like XRP should have had a little bit more of a price increase. I mean, pretty much everything else has, and XRP has remained very stagnant. So to me, it really feels like manipulation. I don't know, until I get proven differently or I see data that proves differently, I can't think of any other explanation than to say that it is some form of manipulation. But as Johnny said, we'll have to wait and see what happens now that we don't have the SEC lawsuit, or that the SEC lawsuit is no longer as impactful as it was in the last bull run.
I agree with you, Mario. I just want to say I agree with him that I think it's totally manipulated.
Speak to it, Jenna. What makes you believe that?
I mean, honestly, it's crazy because like the dumbest news or something can happen, and then like it's like all of these huge sell walls and everything just seem to like get removed and the floodgates go open. So I think that it's just really heavily manipulated by different whales and everything. I don't know, it just really doesn't make sense. But hey, it'll probably be when we least expect it, or when most of retail dumps their bags, and that's when it'll just totally blast off.
Jenna, and there's a couple of things I find interesting. So I'm on the dominance for the cryptocurrency market right now. And one thing that I've realized, it's very clear, is that, so this tracker shows Bitcoin, Ethereum, stablecoins, BNB, XRP, and then all other crypto tokens. This isn't a narrative I've heard very often, but look at this chart right here. It shows that the dominance for other crypto tokens is increasing steadily, going from about like 19% all the way to 30% in this bear market. And so I think that what that tells me is there's a lot more opportunity in other altcoin projects that are legitimate. If they're in the top 20 at this point, Solana, Matic, Cardano, XRP. There's a lot of tokens out there that I think are going to survive through this next bit. And I think there's a ton of opportunity, regardless of if you're a Bitcoin supporter or not. So I don't know, but I want to get Gonzo's thoughts as well. Gonzo, welcome in. What's on your mind, bro?
Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, I think it could be something as simple as, doesn't have to be nefarious. It's just human emotion, right? It's people. People are hella irrational right now, right? And unfortunately, people won't pay attention to XRP because they're irrational and they're emotional. Because we're in it, right? Like, it always seems like there are more people, but I just don't think that it is. You bring up a good point about dominance. Like, XRP dominance actually dropped today. Like, everything ran, and my stop loss got triggered on a trade. All right, that's crazy, right? And so people are just irrational, emotional, and they're chasing things. But I see, as soon as XRP breaks $1 and it starts to run, then that's when everyone kind of comes piling in. But because the price action doesn't do anything and it doesn't attract attention, like everything today, like H bar ran. I think it ran 10%, like just a little while ago before we went on. H bar was running, right? But unless it has like a narrative, or the biggest thing that'll make like attention come to a token or an altcoin is price action, right? As the number goes up, people start paying attention and they start FOMOing in. And unfortunately, like, we've just kind of been at this range. I said it, unless we break 63 cents, like, we're just doing the same thing over and over and over again.
And Gonzo, here's what's really interesting. So you said something important. XRP's dominance has dropped steadily throughout this entire bear market. Ever since 2020, XRP has been ranging between 1.2% and only 2.5% dominance in the market. Just to show you how small that is, during the 2021 bull run, XRP was 17.5% of this market at its peak. That just tells me there's a ton of opportunity here. And if XRP did reach about 20% of the market cap today, even in a bear market at 1.5 trillion, we're talking about the $2, $2.50, is what many people are anticipating. But Johnny Crypto, what's on your mind, bro?
Well, I don't disagree that there's some manipulation, something going on. It just doesn't make sense that the one coin that has regulatory clarity in a space where new money has flooded in hasn't done anything. That's all. It just doesn't make sense.
Do you think there's more opportunity in this cycle heading into 2025, just based on speculation alone? In 2021, we were all waiting for people like BlackRock and them to start talking positively about crypto. The only person who did it was Elon Musk. This time around, we got Larry Fink, Jamie Dimon, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Michael Saylor. We're seeing even Qatar. I read you an article today. $500 billion could be coming out of the UAE and entering into Bitcoin alone. That's going to pump altcoins as well. So there's just so much opportunity out there, and the adversaries are gone. You know, our contrarians, they're gone. So I don't really see why there wouldn't be more opportunity.
So here's what I think. And I wasn't in this in 2017, but I've, obviously been in long enough to research and see what happened back then. And in 2017, you had this whole brand new narrative of, hey, there's technology that's going to take over the SWIFT banking system, and it's going to run the world, and it's going to be the coin or technology that's going to handle cross-border payments for everything. That's a great brand new narrative, and that drove XRP and XLM, especially XRP, to be, I think, number one. It might have been a number one for a while, but not, I think, for long. But at least the number two market cap coin for a while. Okay, so that's what drove it and brought all the excitement around XRP and put it on the map in 2017. That narrative's old. That narrative's gone. Everybody knows it now. So the question you got to ask yourself is, all the guys you just mentioned, every single name you just mentioned that's going to be talking about crypto in this next boom, they're all Bitcoin maxis. So I think in the rest of the world, see, we're close to this. So for us, this is not new. But for most of the world, our friends and family, it's going to be the first time they're hearing about Bitcoin. They're going to hear about a Bitcoin ETF. So I think the narrative is going to be extremely dominating. And the Bitcoin and Bitcoin ETF is going to suck all the air out of the room, and you're going to see a lot of the money going there. Now, the only good news about, and that's my opinion, I could be 100% wrong, but the good news about that is, regardless of what that happens, all that money, some of it, hopefully will do what it's done in the past bull runs, and it will exit BTC at some point, and then it will flood into the altcoins.
And if you just look at the dominance, when we go back and check out the all-time chart, when we were in the peak of the bull run, we were doing $300 billion a day in total volume. Now we're only doing 90 billion, 80 billion, $40 billion. And if you look at the bottom of the bear market, it was only $15 billion a day in total volume. Nobody's in this market right now. And that tells me there's opportunity everywhere. There's also two things. People are overly bullish in the short term. I think that if a Bitcoin ETF gets approved, it could be a classic example: buy the rumors, sell the news. Bitcoin in the last 6 months alone has went from about $27,000 to $43,000. Wouldn't surprise me at all if we enter 2024 at about $50,000. Maybe we have a little bit of bullish momentum left, but the Bitcoin news in and of itself could be a classic time where they dump and we get a short-term sell. What do you think, Gonzo? Am I right? Am I wrong? What do you think?
Yeah, man, it's a possibility. Like the 618 250, we're running up to 48, and so far that's come to pass. But
Gonzo, we're getting audio issues here. I'm going to circle back to you, bro. But what we're going to do is we are going to kick it to Mario or Johnny. Mario, take the floor, and then if you got nothing to say, we'll go to Johnny.
Hey, Johnny, you take the floor. I have a screaming baby in the background.
So I'm happy to take the floor there, Abs. So you were talking about what you, in terms of the dominance that you believe is going to happen coming around. Was that the question?
No, I thought what's pretty interesting is that during the peak of the bull run, we were doing $300 billion in volume every day, volume traded within the crypto market. At the bottom of the bear market this year, at the bottom of the bear market in 2023, January of this year, it was only $15 billion. So that just tells me nobody's in this market right now. And even today, it's been rising steadily over the last month or so. We were at 95. We still got a lot of room to grow. So what do you think?
Do you know what we were? Are you able to look up to see what we were trading at the peak of the bull run?
300 billion.
Okay, I thought you said that was the bottom of the. Okay, yeah. So we're at 300 billion at the peak, and we're at 15 million at the bear, or the bottom. Today we're at 95. You said. Okay, that's interesting. So we're sitting somewhere. All right, so you're like, yeah, so you're right. Then there's a lot of potential upside.
Okay, maybe I should give you the next part of the stats. So if I draw the comparison to what we've seen in previous cycles, in 2016, we went from less than 100 million in volume per day. Well, at the peak of the bull run, we did 70 billion. Then in the next bear market, we did about 1 billion in volume per day at the bottom of the market, and we did 100 billion at the peak. Now we're at 15 billion in the bottom of the market. And if I just draw a similar correlation, tells me we're going to get somewhere between half a trillion and $1 trillion worth of daily volume at the peak of the next bull run. That's not my opinion. That's just me applying the stats that I'm seeing here. So what do you think?
You're assuming that 70x sounds like there's a 70x factor there between the peak and the trough. It sounds like
exactly.
Has
at
that
least
70,
from previous cycles.
Was that 70x consistent both in the
2017? There was a 300x in last time. It went from 1 billion to 300 billion at the peak of the market.
Oh, I thought you said 1 billion.
So I reduced it, but still.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there you go. So the numbers don't lie, and the fact of the matter is, in those other two bull runs, you didn't have the kind of worldwide exposure that I think the world is going to get when the ETF comes. Right? BlackRock's going to make sure the whole world knows about it because they're going to have a bunch of products out there about it. And I think, I was listening to another Spaces where they were talking about they believe all the ETFs will get approved at the same time, which might happen. I probably think that will happen. It'd be kind of hard to prove one and not the others, right? So I would imagine they would all get approved, or depending on their applications, the ones that match the one that gets approved will all get approved. So you have a bunch of them, and those companies are going to go to work to try to get their people to get their clients into, right? And that's going to drive a lot of it in there. And then the second thing that's going to happen is just look at the stock market. Once ETFs became available, you didn't just get a single ETF. You got baskets of ETFs. You've got energy type ETFs, financial ETFs, all these different sectors, precious metal ETFs. The same thing's going to happen. Why would that not happen in crypto? You're going to get a gaming ETF. You're going to get a smart contract ETF, payments ETF, financial ETF, ETFs. I think there's going to be a whole shit ton of them, baskets of those, and that's going to just continue to drive. And the cool thing about that is that will drive money into the altcoins and not have to be dependent on money flooding out. Yeah, exactly. You won't have to worry about money flooding out of Bitcoin and then into it because it's going to have its own, path now to go in there.
That's just one way that this bear market's not going to be the same, because every single time, what do we see? Institutions leverage it up and they leverage it down. So they make money when Bitcoin goes up and they have it leveraged. Then they leverage the market and they make a ton of money in the bear market. This time is going to be different because they're not going to need to the asset. They can hold a big of it, offer it to their clients inside of their 401ks or whatever. My grandma doesn't need to know about Coinbase. She's going to get 1% exposure through a 401k.
That's exactly right. Everybody who's sitting on the sideline, that doesn't know how to use a wallet or set up an exchange and transfer money over. And, it's, for people who are in the boomer stages, it's not, I mean, for us, it's easy, right? We know how to copy and paste addresses. And even then we kind of make, you can make a mistake. You got to double check it. But imagine, someone that's not very computer literate to try and figure all that stuff out. No, that's not going to happen. They're just going to go to their broker or go to 401k and they say, hey, give me some exposure to Bitcoin. Larry Fink already told you people are asking for exposure to Bitcoin, and they're going to do it through the ETF. No question about it. That's where the bulk of the money is going to come in. And then secondly, not only are they going to have baskets ETFs, then they're going to create a whole crypto market around it. Derivatives, call options, put calls and puts. They're going to, I can't imagine it not becoming just like another stock market. Same types of tools, derivatives, things like that, in the financial sector are going to be able to play Bitcoin and buy calls and puts and all that stuff. I think that's all coming.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much again for staying with us on this Merlin Spaces. I wanted to let you know that if you have a question, please go ahead and come on up, and we will get you up here to ask your question or to share any thoughts that you have. Thank you so much. So go ahead and send up those requests, and we'll start bringing people up. If you don't feel comfortable coming up and speak and you'd like to share a comment, please chat it, and we will also read those as well. Gonzo, over to you, sir.
Yeah. We already have that. Johnny. You can go to Deribits and you can trade like Ethereum, Bitcoin. I think some of the other altcoins, all the options. It's all there. It's already kind of started. But I just wanted clarification. So, Abs, are you saying that you don't believe that we'll have a bear market again?
No, sir.
Yeah,
that's not what I was saying.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I was like, humans are gonna win, bro, and so we're always gonna have cycles, and we're always gonna have a bear market because humans are just gonna be human, right? And so it doesn't matter
Yeah.
we'll eventually get to a number that's big enough where people dump, right? And it starts the cycle all over again. All right, cool. That's what I thought you were saying. Just checking.
No, yeah, I should probably clarify, because if you think that way, then I'm sure there's a bunch of other people who do. So what I was trying to describe is how 90% of the money that comes in, it's leveraged money. So that's why it exits on the back end. This time, it's not that there's going to be less leveraged money. It's that there's going to be more real money. And so I think that the bear markets aren't going to be as volatile. But I could be just a thesis that I have, and I'm trying to basically paint a picture of why the future may be different than the past. So that's kind of where my head was at.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it is going to be different. I think this whole market is shifting. And as Gonzo just confirmed, it's already out there, which I'm not surprised. I just meant it's not mainstream yet. That's going to, when that becomes mainstream, as everything else it does, it's going to be a full blown, stock market type. You can go on your E-Trade, and you'll be able to probably buy, Bitcoin, and do no different than what you're doing with stocks, right? And I know Robinhood, I think, already has the capability to do that. So Abs, that's why it's so important, and why we created Merlin, because we wanted to make sure that, hey, when this stuff starts happening, people need to know how to play this game. People need to know how to exit it. And you need to know that your emotions are going to be used against you. So hard to sell when things are going up, because the fear of missing out on something going up and selling too early, believe it or not, is more painful. And I only know this because I've asked people, than actually watching their portfolio go down, because they do it all the time. Because they're so fearful of missing the chance of getting rich quick and going up, they will actually watch their portfolio go down. It's crazy, but it's human. It's, as Gonzo was just saying, it's
Makes
human
sense.
behavior.
I mean, it makes sense, because people think about it this way. Your chips are either on the board or off the board. And I think that the way I view my portfolio now is not in that context. I look at my portfolio like, even at the end of this bull run, if Bitcoin's $1 million and XRP is $1,000, I'm still going to have 35% of my portfolio forever. That's my plan. Even if we get ridiculous price targets and I think nothing's going to go higher, I'm still holding that 35%. That way, it's not like I'm playing a poker game and my hand's either in or I folded, if you see what I'm saying.
That's exactly where the game changed for me mentally. Is you make sure you leave some chips on the table, so that you don't end up feeling like you're going to miss. And I call that schmuck insurance. Make sure you have schmuck insurance. Keep 20-30% of those bags with you permanently. Don't pull a Johnny Crypto and sell all your stuff, all your Amazon in 1997. Although I'm, to some degree, if I didn't, I wouldn't have known any of you guys. So that's the silver lining of it. Love you guys.
Oh, hi, I have a question.
Yeah, hold on 1 second, soldier. We have a few people ahead of you, and then we'll bring you up, sir.
Yeah, cool. By the way, I see we brought Echo up as a speaker too, so love to hear from him as well. But I forgot where I was going with it. So anyway, yeah, go ahead, guys. Kick it over. You can kick it over to him.
Let's go to Soldier. Soldier, ex-Soldier NFTs. Floor is yours, my friend. Oh, no. I think he got shy, guys. I'm sorry. Hopefully we came across nicely, Soldier. Get back up here and ask your question.
You're more than welcome to come back up. I just want to make sure that we have a few questions in chat as well. So real quick, we'll do the chat questions, and then Echo can share his thoughts as well. But inside of the chat, John asks, what are your guys' thoughts on VeChain?
Johnny Crypto, I'll let you take that one. I do like VeChain, but floor is yours.
Well, I mean, and actually, I call it to anybody who wants to chat. I don't know if Gonzo or Mario or Jenna or anybody has a take on it. But as you know, VeChain is one of those supply chain type solutions, real world solutions, which I work in the consumable goods industry, and I can tell you that supply chain is a nightmare. And to be able to have a solution where you can track something from cradle to grave is going to be, I think, what's the word? It's going to definitely change the game, and there's going to be a ton of efficiencies that can be gained there. Abs, what I tell you all the time on the show, it's all about cheaper, better, right? And VeChain and Morpheus are two that can bring that kind of change to that game to put everything on the blockchain. And you've already seen, there's a video out there. You can see an example of a girl bought a product, or she was in the store and she scanned it, and you can actually see, from where the components came, where it was built, and when it got shipped, and when it landed. You can see the whole 9 yards, the whole thing. So all that being on the blockchain, I think, is going to translate to huge efficiencies for companies because of all of the loss or cost in supply chains. They're going to be able to make those much more efficient and lower the bottom line. So, but curious what the other guys think.
I want to hear from Echo as well. Echo, how you doing tonight, my friend? Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Ab. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Merlin family. Thank you all for having me up. I'm a big fan of VeChain. I think it is a sleeping giant. right? Anything to do with supply chain. Of course, everybody already knows what happened during the pandemic. It really affected the supply chain. So it's only a matter of time until use case scenarios like utilization with cryptocurrencies like those will actually have an effect on the price itself. So this is where why I'm a big fan of XRP, because I love the conversation that y'all were bringing up earlier where the price was manipulated. I completely agree with you all, right? And I've always had this feeling that the price of XRP won't actually reflect now more so than ever until the actual system needs to be switched over. And I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart, and I understand that the global economics is not looking too well right now. And eventually they're going to have to switch the system over. And why not use one of the most liquid assets out there for cross-border payments?
Oh, I'm with you, Echo. Sorry about that. I got stuck on the mute button there, guys. But I agree with the premise of what you're saying. But here's the argument that let me take the opposite side of the argument. So I think the first thing that comes to people's mind is why would the people who are in control relinquish that power to the XRP holders? If they were going to create some sort of a currency that was going to lead to world domination, don't you think they would do it behind closed doors and then offer it out privately? Kind of similar to what JP Morgan's doing with Onyx. And I'm playing a character here, guys, so don't come at me.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. Like whenever, so my theory comes back from that it was always the plan from the get-go, right? This was not a known secret, right? The CIA was the one who created cryptocurrency from the very get-go, right? Bitcoin most predominantly, and then you had David Schwartz. Supposedly he helped create helped develop on the Bitcoin network. Then came over to develop on Ripple, right? They needed a protocol to be able to fix the solution that we have, right? Because the solution you can date it all the way back to 1971 when we got off the gold standard, or 1831, right? Or 1913, whenever the Federal Reserve got created. They knew this problem was going to come around one day or another. But for me, it almost seems like that technology like this already existed back in the days, and they try to manipulate the system, but cryptography is not nothing new, right? We've been experimenting with cryptography for many decades now. It's just now all of a sudden we need a solution, right? And there's only a handful of solutions that we have, right? Being one of the two cryptocurrencies that have clear regulation or clarity, and XRP being the other. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the all and be all, right? Because in my opinion, this is going to be a multi-asset environment. Yeah, I wear an XRP logo on my hat, but it's just because I believe that the number one problem that we have in banking is fractionalized banking, and people don't realize that. As soon as people start realizing what's wrong with the banking system right now and realize that fractionalized banking is the number one cause of problem, and instead of trying to end fractionalized banking, if you can improve it, like upgrade the system, then by that means we can actually move and grow GDP more, right? Because think about it. Right now, if we send money across borders, it takes about a week, right? It's very expensive, it's very slow, and it's not secured. But if we can change all of that and turn that into something that will move money 3 to 5 seconds, very cheap, very fast, and very secure across borders, okay, that will change the whole dynamics of how you grow GDP. This is where I have this feeling whenever the system does get flipped, right, the switch of the flip, right, does happen, people are not going to be for the amount of, what you call it, the exponential growth that will happen legitimately, because we will be able to move money so quickly, so fast. Imagine if you're able to run a business and able to grow your business that much faster, because you're able to move money that much quicker, much safer, much, et cetera, right? So that's where my theory is at with XRP and where it lies at. There is going to be other projects like XLM, XDC, right? I'm a huge bag holder, a holder of DAG now, right? Ever since I dove deep into the actual protocol and learned about it, sat there and listened to the developers and the co-founders. So for me, a lot of these ISO tokens right now, dollar cost averaging into those, holding them for long term, kind of like holding gold and silver, is going to be my best bet.
I love it, Echo. And I think a lot of people in the chat agree with you. They're showing emojis. So shout out to you, my friend. Johnny Crypto, Jenna, Gonzo, I want to hear from you guys. I don't want to talk all night. So what do you think about what Echo had to say? And then I'll get my take. We can start with whoever wants to unmute, and then we'll go from there. All right, I choose Gonzo.
Yeah, sorry, I was just walking into the house. Yeah, so I only heard part of it, but yeah, and it kind of goes into what I was saying earlier with Johnny, and Johnny brought up a really good point as far as why the projects ran, XLM, XRP ran, right? Is because that narrative of cross-border payments and like the speculation of the technology. And so I said that this morning on Good Morning Crypto, like we just need kind of a new narrative to catch fire. Unfortunately, people are just not interested in that narrative, right? Just like VeChain, it's kind of an
Gonzo, I
OG
just
project.
thought of
I think it's
this.
going
I
to do
just
well.
thought of this. Hold on. I
Yeah,
got to run
go
this
ahead.
by you. Tokenization. Tokenization is going to narrative, not only for real estate, stocks, bonds, but crypto
100%.
assets. I think that could be the next one to drive the market. What do you think?
Yeah, no, 100%. We're already seeing. Look at AVAX running. That's kind of. I'm surprised that XLM hasn't run because it's kind of into that narrative. Now it remains to be seen how we're going to profit, right? Like how is real world assets and that narrative, right, and the tokenization of assets going to reflect on a token, right? We don't know that yet. Is it going to be private? Is it going to be public? Right? Like how are we going to bring value so that we can make money off of it, right? But while they're figuring that out and that plays out, I think the speculation or just that narrative alone, as people come into the space, will make those projects run. Even if the technology is not completely built out yet, they're going to run. And AVAC, perfect example. Chainlink is another one, right? And so, while we transition into a utility bull run, which we're not there yet, it's all about narratives and what catches people's attention.
I just want to remind our listeners, follow the Merlin account. If you're just joining our spaces because you follow Johnny or Gonzo or Mario or anybody else, Echo, anybody else in the chat, make sure you follow the Merlin spaces so you can always join these things. We actually host these bi-weekly, but December is going to be a little weird, but 2024, every other week, you're going to get a Merlin spaces from this team. I also want to remind you guys, sign up 30 days absolutely free. You can create an exit plan, track all of your crypto in one location using our application. Click the link that's posted here or go to merlincrypto.com. You can get all the closer details. But Johnny, I want to get some thoughts from you as well. We're not talking about Cardano, but listen, I can hear you shaking in your boots from the other side of the room. Cardano's one that someone's been talking about.
Are you both in the same room?
No,
Or
I
I
just like to
hear
mess
him all the way from where he's at.
I just like to tease Johnny Crypto because he teases me back, so I got to give it back to him.
No, I
But Johnny,
know.
on a serious note, we talked about smart contracts. Ethereum dominates the market. As someone who knows a lot about Cardano, you know more than I do about what they're doing, what they're developing. How do you feel about that project heading into 2024?
Cardano is a very interesting project because, you've got the founder who left Ethereum, who was a developer of Ethereum and left because they had a difference in opinion on how it should be organized and run. Similar to what happened with Ripple and Stellar and the two owners there. And so now you got a guy who also knows where the inefficiencies, if you will, are in the Ethereum system to improve it and make it better. And you've seen that there's a lot of, if you look at GitHub for the past 2 years, there's a ton of developers. It's the number one worked on or developer chosen, if you will, blockchain. So, part of it makes you wonder, like, okay, there's something going on there that's usually an early indicator from a technology perspective. Now, what you haven't really seen yet is too many things running off of it yet. But you definitely have seen it almost double, Abs. And, we haven't seen XRP double, but we've seen Cardano. I remember when you were calling out at 29 cents, and I think we're almost, 40 cents, something like that. So, but again, I'm not a lover of Cardano.
Oh, you must be celebrating.
I'm not even a lover of Cardano. I mean, you keep saying that.
I don't know. I feel like in the past I've heard that you were a lover of Cardano.
No. You've been subliminally programmed by Abs to think.
Remember, is that what happens?
Listen, I need to give a shout out right now to Coach JB for teaching me the ways because
there's an old statement, Jeremy. It goes, if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes
no.
And that's exactly what Abs has been doing.
Is that what happened?
Oh yeah, a year and a half. I mean, the reason why I'll tell you why I liked Cardano. Coach actually called out Cardano about 2 years ago when I joined the academy, and he put it out there, and I bought, and I started researching it. And I was like, oh man, this is supposed to be the ETH killer. And we talked about something earlier, narratives, right? Narratives are what's going to drive where the money goes. And the narrative back then, as ETH was the big, gorilla in smart contracts. Well, what was the talk all about? It was about, who's going to be next, right? That was the narrative. Who's the ETH killer? And Solana popped up, and Cardano popped up, and those were the two that were sucking all the air out of the room when they talked about the next ETH killer. And so the question, to answer your question, long story short, is, that narrative's beat and dead now. So the question is, what's going to be the narrative to drive Cardano? I mean, unless if they come up with, some kind of utility or adoption, I don't know how well Cardano is going to be doing, and nor do I, not really care, because at the end of the day, I got my bag split.
Nor do you care.
No, I mean, I actually sold a lot of it, so I don't really care. But you know what you are hearing now, Abs? You're hearing about this little tiny coin Myra, and they're talking about them being the Gala killer,
So,
right? So
so can I ask a question? Is it Myra?
Myra,
It's
I always,
Miria.
I
I'm
think
just
it's
Yeah,
Mary.
wondering,
I
Johnny. I
always,
was waiting for Mario to jump in
yeah,
and be like, "It's
Mario's gonna get
Miria."
in there and correct me. Mario will correct me for sure.
And
But
real quick, Johnny. I know that Echo has his hands up. I know Echo. Did you want to comment on some of the things that Johnny was saying? I'll kick it over to you, and then after that, we have two questions: one from Lawrence and one from Clinton in the chat that I'm going to get answered. So, Echo, did you have some thoughts that you wanted to add as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. I just wanted to just touch bases on Cardano because I actually do like Cardano a lot. Not to knock Johnny because, but Cardano, whenever I explored their ecosystem, I mean, they have a really, really strong community. And I actually have my Cardano stake on the dailiest, because they're one of the largest proof of stake networks out there, right? If I'm not mistaken, they're actually the largest, right, where it comes to the consensus mechanism. But the one thing that drove me to Cardano was the AI technology that's being built on there with Singularity Net and the Singularity DAO. So I know AI is going to be a huge narrative, especially in this upcoming bull run, right? And if anybody done like seeing like the Singularity and Sophia that the robot, that's something to definitely keep an eye out on. I know that some people are scared about it because it's like Terminator type ordeal, but at the end of the day, I mean, for me, I think about it as far as like technology and advancement, and hey, might as well go ahead and make money from it. So I wouldn't want to sleep on it if I were anybody.
by the
I
way,
like that mindset.
just for the record, I am a Cardano holder. Echo, I love Cardano. I'm not against it. I just, Abs makes it sound like it's my only one, but no, Cardano. Again, there is definitely, I think there's life
Folded
there.
quicker than a $2 bill, huh?
No, I mean there's life there. I'm just saying that the way you make it sound like that I can't sleep with that one and nothing else. No, you don't sleep with any of these. But no, there's potential. And actually, AGIX is one of my favorite ones. He brought up Singularity. I think that's a valid point. AI is going to be big in this space, and you're going to see a lot of money flooding into the AI space, the Bitcoin space, probably smart contracts too, and I think gaming. For me, those and all the other sectors will, but I think you're going to see a lot of about those four sectors, and a lot of money are going to find themselves in those areas.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Johnny Crypto. We have two questions from the audience. And Lawrence and Clinton, you're more than welcome to come up if you like, but I know that you chatted your questions here. We'll start with Lawrence because I believe that his question was first. Can we comment a little bit on how to make an exit plan? I know that Gonzo does a lot of technical analysis inside of the 3T Warrior Academy. So Gonzo, if you'd like to kick us off on how to make an exit plan or what you do, and then we can kick it around the room to whoever wants to go. And then if Gonzo, if you're not able to, then I'll kick it over to someone else.
Yeah, I can. I mean, a lot of it is based on like fibs and to see like where these things can reject and then bounce off. But like if you do a fib pull and then usually like 618, the 1618, 2618, and the 3618 are pretty good. Things get very extended when they get to the 4 and the 5, but like that'll give you kind of an idea. You could also kind of look at support resistance. A lot of these altcoins are all doing the same similar structure, right? Where they were on a permanent downtrend, lower high, lower lows, and then they started to have a breakout. So you can literally draw a trend line from the all-time high, maybe a little bit lower, to the bottom, right? And then add like maybe the 200-week moving average, and then price action breaks out. And so one of the early breakout ones were like Solana, AVAX. A lot of the ones that haven't broken out are Polkadot, things like that. But you could just look to see where the peaks are, and that'll tell you where price action is going to go. Maybe one of these projects doesn't go back to all-time high, but it'll definitely go back to where there is no kind of resistance. And so you can kind of put that into your exit prices and then kind of just use that. That's kind of what I do.
And so, Gonzo, I have a question. How did you get into, because when I had met you, I think that you were just starting to do TA or you were just getting into technical analysis. For our listeners, because as of right now, inside of Merlin, we're all working on this. We don't help people create their actual exit plans. We just have the ability to have the exit plans and then to get the notifications so you know when to sell. But my question is, so how did you get into it? And do you have any tips for any of the people in the audience to learn about how to make their exit plans, where they can go, what you did, so that they can go and do that, so they can set their exit strategies inside Merlin?
Yeah, so start off by getting just like a trading view account. There is a free account. You don't have to do the paid one because you don't need a lot of indicators, and just start looking at charts like in the high time frames, like the weekly and the daily. I want to go like too smaller than that, and you can kind of just see, especially with tokens like Bitcoin, Ethereum that have a lot of chart. You could even go a kind of higher time frame like to the weekly or the monthly, and you could just see kind of where these support and resistance levels are. But there's all kinds of stuff out there. I'm self-taught, but there's tons of courses. Like Jen is part of it. For Crypto Lifer, I took his trading course. I think she's part of the community. Like Sheldon the Sniper, I take his courses. So I take a bunch of different like courses when it comes to trading, and then like kind of cherry picked what I like or what I vibe with, and kind of just turned it into my own.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Gonzo, for sharing that. Echo, is there anything that you want to add, or any of the other speakers in regards to TA or what you guys did to learn TA if you do it? If not, it's perfectly okay.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really do much TA. I mean, I look at the charts and every once in a while, but ever since like right now, since we were at the bottom of the bear market and I've been accumulating since last November, I just feel like that we're going to be taking off really quickly from here on out. I don't know. I have this theory right now that we're probably going to be going into a super cycle. I don't know if any of y'all have ever heard of that, but it just seems like something is boiling up massively, not just on the crypto side, but on the financial side of things, economically, geopolitically. So I feel like when people say that we're going into uncharted territory, I think that they are telling the truth. And this is not just a technical analysis from what I'm seeing here. But Gonzo, I would love to speak longer, but I do have to put my son to bed. So I'm going to have to actually drop down. I'm still going to be listening in, but I want to thank you all to the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Ab. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Merlin. Thank you, Mario.
Echo, real quick, can you just let people know where to find you so they can follow you, because you have amazing content, and CJV loves your content as well, and I love it as well too, so I'd love for people to know where to find you, because you're also on TikTok, not just on X, right?
Yeah. So predominantly my content is on TikTok. I've been pushing more of my content on X, but again, more the conspiracy side of things, but
Yeah.
TikTok will be majority of where you're going to find me at.
Perfect. And is your handle just Echo?
Yep, Echo the Truth.
Cool. Perfect.
All right.
Thank you, Echo. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Gonzo.
Hey, and Echo, I just want to say, and I got to go. I just want to say thank you for joining us. And guys, we got a special announcement that we'll be making with Echo shortly. But with that said, just on the topic of TA, Jeremy, obviously the fibs is a really, really good way to do it. That's how I create all my exit strategies. And that's a little more advanced method. I would encourage people that if you're looking to do an exit strategy, start with a simple one. You can start with a simple percentage plan. I'll just give you an example, right? You can say, let's pick like percentage. Just say, hey, you know what? 25%. Every 25%, I'm going to take a little profit. So let's say you bought something at $1. And you can go into Merlin, you can say, okay, my first exit target, I'm going to go 25% higher than that. So you're going to put it at $1.25 and you sell a certain percentage. And then, you do 25%. The next 25% would be obviously 50, right? So, $1.50 and you go and you sell a certain percentage. And then so on and so forth, 75 cents and, $1.75, of course, 75%. And then your 100% would be your $2 point. So you could do something as simple as that, because the reality is, look, you're trying to scale out or ladder out on the way up. And if you don't know how to do the fibs, there's a great video out there, by the way, from Bearable, from BC Backer that you can watch. Go Google him and track him down. That video is great. And we will also be creating one in Merlin, so we'll have a tutorial there to show you how to do it as well. But if you don't know how to do it, again, start with something. Get in the mode, in the mindset of just laddering out as you're going up. Because the one thing somebody taught me a long time ago, if you're taking profits, you'll never lose money.
Who taught you that?
A guy I used to work with. He'd tell me,
Nice.
Johnny, he'd be playing around. And he'd say, Johnny, if you're in the green yourself, you're never going to be in the red. And he was right, man, because like an idiot, I'd watch it go all the way up. And then because of that fear of missing out, I'd watch it come all the way back down. I don't make those mistakes no more.
Is that what happened with Amazon?
And that's exactly, well, no. Amazon was a little different. Amazon went up and I got out. That one, I finally learned my lesson a bit, Jeremy, but I didn't learn the lesson fully. So it's funny. In life, you make mistakes. I always just always fail, you make mistakes. But mistakes are nothing more but lessons. And lesson number one I learned was, don't watch it go all the way up and all the way down. So then when I took it and applied that to lesson number two, which was when it goes up, you sell. The mistake I made was you don't sell it all. I sold it all. I got out, and that was a dumb move because so lesson one, when it goes up, you sell some. Lesson two, you always hold on to a little bit for schmuck insurance in case 10, 15 years from now, it keeps going up. So you put those two lessons together and you're in a really, really good spot. And that's really what Merlin does, Jeremy. Merlin helps you put that plan together and take your emotions out of it so you don't have to. And we give it to you away 30 days free. So I hope everybody tries it. If you're listening to this, you go sign up, www.merlincrypto.com, and really start to put yourself in a position to put the power in your hands before this bull run. You want to be ready, and you want to have your plans ready to go and not have to be making decisions when euphoria is happening, because you will make a bad decision.
Yeah, and everyone here that's on here, make sure to follow all of us. You can follow Abs at GM's, what is it, 3TGM Crypto here on X. You can follow Johnny Crypto here on X and on TikTok, where we post all of our fun water sport videos when we have them occasionally once a year. And then you can follow Mario, the No Defender, the beautiful Jenna X. Make sure to follow her as well, and Gonzo. And then we do have one more question from in the chat. But before I go over that, Abs, did you want to add anything or say anything about TA?
Yeah, so when Johnny was talking about an exit plan, I have a bunch of family members who are using Merlin, and they know nothing about crypto. And when I say nothing, I mean they know less than every single person listening right now. You know more than the family members that I was helping. And the way that I was able to help them make an exit plan is because they don't know anything about Fibonacci's. They don't know anything about price targets. Like, they're not even on that level. But what they do know is how much money they want to make. So what we did is, I'll use fake numbers. If somebody put $1,000 into the market, we decided where their exit targets were going to be based on what the profit would be at said target. So I think that's a good way to do it as well. If you put $1,000 in, you want to make $10,000, it's pretty simple to figure out where you should be selling. And that's what I did with a bunch of my family members. So that's all I got.
Nice, Abs. Thank you. And we have another question from Clinton. So do you guys think Evergrande will be the black swan to bring down the markets and force these banks to make a switch to start using DLT?
Dun, dun, Johnny Crypto. And that is the second largest real estate company in China. And for anybody who doesn't know what's happening there, they're on the brink of defaulting now. They've defaulted in the past. There's a bunch of credit rumors going on. I'm not super familiar with the situation, but what I will say is this has been something that they've been talking about for years. They were talking about this in 2020, 2021, 2022, and here we are still talking about this. So do I think it's a black swan? I think it's a negative catalyst for the market, but I don't think it's a be-all, end-all situation where they change the world because Evergrande collapses. That could be because I don't know enough. So if somebody listening wants to inform me, come up here and let me know why you think differently. But Johnny, Mario, Gonzo, what do you guys think?
I think black swans usually are unexpected. And so if something seems to be very obvious, then most likely it will not be. But I think it's something definitely to pay attention to. I mean, if it has a big impact in the economy, then it can certainly be like an event that can bring the price down temporarily. I mean, we saw 2020, we went through what we did as far as C19, and yet the market still recovered and we went on to a bull run during technically the worst conditions that we as humanity and the economy has ever gone through. So, I mean, we did have conditions like money printing and all that going on, but I think it's important to know that sometimes these events can happen, and they can happen most of the time from unexpected sources or circumstances. But yeah, the market can still recover.
And just to show you how cyclical a lot of these narratives really are, where's the cyber attack, Johnny? What happened? I thought I was going to need my tinfoil hat and my cans of tuna. I was getting ready. What happened? 2020 was telling me, and I'm just being the antagonist. I'm only teasing here, Johnny. But what I do think is funny is I guarantee that's another narrative that's going to come around. If I can predict the narratives of this next market, we're going to hear quantum computing, AI.
What if it already happened and this is just a metaverse? And that's why there was so much talk about metaverse. And that's when all of us were put inside of the metaverse.
Well, why don't we have somebody test the theory? There's only one way to test that theory. But Johnny, what do you think?
I guess give Jeremy the red pill or the blue pill. I guess he's gonna have to decide.
See what happens.
He's in the matrix, right? He's in the matrix. Actually, I happen to agree with Mario in this case, where you never hear of when these events are gonna happen. If you're hearing about it, guess what, guys? Ain't gonna happen. Most of the times it doesn't. When do we ever get early advance notice of what's gonna happen?
Just look at Tether, right, Johnny? Tether's been booming for like years now.
That's right, Mario. In fact, I remember what he was saying. Oh, Johnny, Tether's going to be the next one. I go, that's exactly why it's not going to be. Because you don't get notification of what's going to happen. So all these things that we think are going to happen, I mean, the best indicator to this stuff really is to look and see what the West is working on, the World Economic Forum, for prevention and disaster. Because there has been, before the C word came out, 4 years earlier, they were working on prevention for the C word. And then it happened, right? So that's everybody Abs is talking about a cyber attack because the West is working on a cyber attack preparation. So that one probably, only because the West is working, if there's any evidence, that would be the one that I would probably lend to think would be, more of the black swan event if we were to have one. But the Evergrande thing, I mean, we're talking $300 billion if it crashes. $300 billion in the grand scheme of the world economy, it's not that big. Yeah, it's big. But I mean, do you think the world's going to stop because of $300 billion? I mean, they'll print that tomorrow if they need to. You know what I mean? But will they use it as some kind of narrative to crash certain things and revamp systems? And yeah, sure they will. But is that the one that triggers and flips the switch? I don't personally think so. But that's me. I don't know. Curious what the rest of the group thinks. And guys, by the way, we're here for you guys. We want to hear from you. Come on up. Don't be shy. If you're a little nervous, you're on the fence, don't worry about it. Raise your hand. Come on up. Come and ask us questions. Come chat. Just even give your comments. We just want to hear from you.
Yeah, I just have to say things go. I think, I mean, anything is possible. I think that the switches being flipped, they're going to be gradual things. And I have to just say what Johnny said, that is you're not going to hear about it. Those things are going to happen. If everybody's talking about it, my guess is that it's not going to happen at that period of time.
Oh, was that all right, guys? So I guess that's the conclusion. It is not.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that unless Mark wants anything to add or anybody else has any thoughts.
Question from the users, Jeremy?
That was a question from the users. That was actually a question from Clinton in the audience. Clinton, you're more than welcome to come up. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well. Again, there's nothing wrong. We definitely want you to come up, and anything that you share, we would love to learn from you as well, and not just have it be the other way around too, because that's how we learn as well, and that's how we all share and how we all grow. So if we're waiting, if anybody wants to come up, please come up. We do have another question. There's a question from Andrew. Thoughts about chain key tech on ICP?
Was that English?
I'm not even sure I understand the question.
I do not understand that
We're
question.
We're going to have to bring him up.
Yeah,
bring him up
Andrew,
and ask that question.
Let me
Andrew,
see.
come on up, buddy.
Hey, Andrew, I'll invite you up, and if you'd like to speak, you're more than welcome to come up and ask that question and engage. We can engage in some amazing conversation.
Johnny, on a more important note, something that's very, very clear right now is that this time is different. And that's why I feel like there should be this sense of urgency right now, where I don't think people should be rushing to invest or rushing to, get their last bit of money into the market. But I do think people should be strategizing. I think people should be getting ready. And I think there should be a little bit of fire on people's minds when it comes to the fact that we're not going to get another chance at this for 3 years. If we go through another bull run, we know how this goes. If it just correlates, we're going to be waiting till 2028, 29 for another opportunity. And that's something that really has me excited, motivated heading into 2024. This is our opportunity. If we do things correctly this time around, we can have a great opportunity at creating generational wealth. And there's going to be so much opportunity for us to earn on our holdings, earning yield on our Bitcoin, our XRP. We talked with Gary Cardone on Friday about a lot of unique ways that we're going to earn income on the crypto we're holding today. This is something that everybody's going to learn about over these next 2 or 3 years. So that's my point. I don't think this is like another, we're in a bear market, you got time. There should be a little bit of urgency with everybody who's listening right now. Set up a plan, figure out what you're going to do, what you want to hold, and how much money you'd like to make in order to reach your goals. And that's kind of where I'm at mentally.
Gonzo, I see you have your hand up, sir.
I was just going to say, just a little pushback again. I don't think we're doing anything. I think we're just talking about more amounts of money. But if you look at the last cycle, Bitcoin peaked out at the 618, and that's exactly what we're doing again, right? As soon as you broke 42,000, that was the 0.5. It's just more money involved. And so, not that the 4-year cycles are like exact, but we really aren't doing anything different. Like, I think that if you talk to the Bitcoin maxis or the guys like heavy into Bitcoin, they're a little bit, so most of them were saying we were going to get to 35, 38,000. So it's a little surprising that we got to 42. But overall, like, it's just more money involved, but we really haven't done anything different. Next year, we're going to see, like, we have the halving. And so we'll see if we get some type of correction, if we mimic 2019 with some tax swan, like Gary Gensler denying spot ETF on January 10th, or if we follow the 2015, 2016 cycle where Bitcoin continues to kind of stair step all the way up into the peak. And so I think we're going to get those answers next year in the halving year.
But they pay us to speculate, Gonzo, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now, my friend. I painted a picture for 90 minutes about why this time is different, and I think the biggest reason is that they're going to start offering derivatives products, and we're going to be earning a yield on a lot of the coins that we hold. I've never deviated from the 4-year cycle narrative. If you listen to what I said in the analogy, I said 2028 to 2029, we're going to have to wait to get another opportunity. That's me indicating that we're going to have another bear market. Bull market up until the end of 2025. 2026 will be that sentiment. 2027 will be the accumulation year, and then we'll start the process over again. Now, I'm literally guessing. This is only for the sake of the Merlin live chat conversation, but if you put me on the hot seat, that's kind of what I think. I do agree with you. It's more of the same, and I think it's more of these opportunities, but I'm aware they only come every 5 years.
No, you're definitely spot on, bro. Like I think the bear market's done, bottom is in, and so coin ran. Like I think the last opportunity on a little bit of correction was at 36,000, and so like the opportunities are in the altcoins, right? But you have to have like a higher risk tolerance, right? Because if Bitcoin decides to peel back, it's going to devastate the altcoin. And so all these gains that you've had, if you're buying at these levels, you just have to be prepared that you're going to get like you get a 5% correction in Bitcoin, you're going to get a 15 to 30% correction in the altcoins. And so as long as you're prepared for that, you don't panic sell, and maybe you continue to DCA to bring that entry lower if you got in. If you've already been in, then you're looking to do the opposite, right? You're looking to take profits and then get back in. But yeah.
All right, we just brought up crypto in my veins, I think is what it's said. My apologies, sir, but I know that you have your hand up. We would love to hear your thoughts or questions and or comments.
I just want to remind you guys with the state of the markets, whatnot, there's a lot of things that are not going in the positive direction for the general markets. Everyone that I'm talking to is telling me that there's going to be a drop around March when first quarter earnings come out. Keep that in mind. I think it's going to be a fairly significant drop.
So crypto, is it because of what the earnings are going to be like? They're going to be so low that it's just going to then have that trickle effect across the market. Is that what the sentiment is?
Yes. A lot of companies they're making decent money right now through the holidays and whatnot, but once that's over, they're not expecting a lot of sales and whatnot to bring their stocks up when the earnings come out. The earnings are going to be low, is what everyone's saying, and when that happens, it's going to pull the S&P down and everything else with it.
If I could add, I think.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, Jeremy.
No, go ahead, Abs. I was going to ask you.
Oh, Mario. It's Mario.
Oh, Mario, I'm sorry. I see Abs' little speaker, and I was like, that doesn't sound like Abs, but he's the only one that looks like he's talking. Mario, go ahead, sir.
No, I think there's a lot of validity to those comments, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But at the same time, I don't think that invalidates the repeat of the cycle, because if we look at the previous bull run, like we don't even need to look at. I mean, if we were to look at the previous bull runs in general, we can see there are multiple times where we get really aggressive corrections during that bull run. So if we look at the last bull run of 2021, we can see several times where Bitcoin price crashed almost $10,000 a couple of times. So if this does happen in March, I still don't think it would invalidate the thesis of us repeating a cycle. But I think that, and I also feel that way. I'm guilty of recently feeling kind of bearish because of the state of the economy worldwide. But a part of me keeps reminding myself that until it's different, let's just think that it's going to be the same. So
I agree with you 100%. It actually plays in with the cycles also. So I'm expecting a crash looking at the cycle patterns as well. I'm just curious what kind of event could emerge at the same time and really bring the prices down, like maybe to 20K or so.
Johnny, I know you said you had a comment or typed to me about a comment. Did you have any thoughts?
I mean, not specific to that portion of the question, but when I think about the economy as a whole, the economy itself, there's no doubt it's in trouble. I mean, I work for a Fortune 100 company, and I can tell you that we're all predicting next year is going to be bad. So there's no surprise or secret there. That's already out there, and the markets are starting to prep for it. Companies are prepping for it. Companies are laying off, and you're going to see more and more of that coming. It is going to be a rough year next year. Now, but think about this now. And this is why I happen to agree with Abs, or maybe Abs agrees with me. I've been saying for a while that I think this may be the change, the last time we see a 4-1 bull cycle, because you now have something you've never had in any other cycle before. You now have something that was once known as a crypto, as a scam and a geeks playing toy, which is now a Bitcoin ETF, which is going to be approved by the SEC. The whole entire world is going to be aware of it. Everybody's going to be investing in it. It's a real product now. It's legitimized. It's no longer a bastard child, but it's a real thing. And Larry Fink came on TV and said people are going to be looking for a flight to safety and security. So now typically when you have a bad economy like we're going to have next year, money's going to come out of the stock market and it's going to look for safe places to go. Precious metals, commodities,
Bonds.
utilities, and Jeremy, you know this even better than me.
Yeah,
It's going to look
I added bonds. I don't know if you heard me.
bonds. Oh, there you go.
said it
Yeah,
earlier.
bonds.
Yeah.
And now Larry Fink just added another one because the narrative is crypto is a flight. He said these are his words, not mine. Larry Fink said on national TV, and he will continue to say this for the next year to 2 years, that crypto is the flight to quality, to safety, to security. And so think about that. Think about at the time when Crypto My Veins was saying, March or so, that we're going to have the bad earnings announcements. At that very same time, we may have two crucial things happening on the crypto market. One, Bitcoin ETF approved. Two, the halving, which is going to be all this positive, great news, flight to safety and security. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a flooding of money jumping out of the stock market because of the bad news and flooding into gold, silver, and crypto. I think that's a very potential likely scenario. So I hope that answers your question, Crypto the Veins. That's what I personally think. You're going to see money coming out of the stock market and into crypto as a flight to safety and security. So I could be wrong, but we'll see if it continues the narrative.
Johnny, brother, I agree with you 100%. But I think there's going to be a nice buying opportunity for everything at one small point at around that time.
Oh, that's right. So you asked, do you think it can go to 20? So here's my thought on that. I don't think we're going to see 15 to 20K again. Don't get me wrong. I hope we do, because if we do, I'm going to break the reverse stick on my truck when I back that son of a bitch up to buy more. But I don't think we're going to get that opportunity again.
You'd be driving in your truck to go buy more.
Reverse. You back up the truck. You never heard the statement? Back the truck up, load that son of a bitch up. I'll back it up and put that thing so hard in the reverse. So hard in the reverse. So quick, I should say. But the reality is, I don't think we're going to see that. I think those days are over. However, I am a big believer of buy the rumor, sell the news.
Yep.
And what I do think is possible, Crypto My Veins, is that we could see when the announcement comes out, okay, the big boys are going to probably dump that. They're going to dump it. And I think wherever that bottom happens, I don't know how low it's going to go. Gonzo and I were talking about this on the show today. Maybe 38,000, maybe 30,000. Wherever low that bottoms out, that's probably going to be the last low bottom opportunity we're going to get. Because then, think about just naturally what happens. They make the announcement, it's approved. Everybody's excited. People start pumping in, the big boys dump it, right? Sell the news. Now, what happens, the weeks following that? Everybody who just got an approved ETF, guess what? All their employees are on the phones with their clients saying, hey, did you hear about this new Bitcoin ETF? You got to get in this. Hey, can I move your 401k over? I'm going to roll your 401k. And all the stockbrokers, they're all going to be pushing people into this. Slowly and gradually, that's going to start happening. And as that happens, as our man Mark Risco said, the more that money floods in there, they have to buy the underlying asset. And that's going to drive the price up. So that's what's going to happen. I don't know what that lag time is going to be from the bottom of the sell the news to the time of when it starts to start pumping, once all the real money starts coming in from clients. But whatever that lag time is, that's the time we're going to have to buy. And it's probably going to be, I think, short. And then that you'll start to see that kind of start driving up slowly and gradually and driving all the way up to 100, maybe six figures or something like that. So that's my theory anyway. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. If anybody has a different thought, please share it. Would love to hear different ideas.
We do have Rob with his hand up. Rob, floor is yours, my friend.
What is up, guys? It's been a while since I spoke to all you guys. I've spoken to Jeremy and Johnny, they're studs, but yeah, it's been a while. Abs, Mario, and Gonzo, hope you guys are all doing great. Yeah, I was curious. I love what you guys are talking about here. I was curious on when you guys think the shitcoin washout happens, and we have like the .com bubble, essentially, of the blockchain going to occur. Just curious on your thoughts on that.
Johnny Crypto, open up the history book, my friend, and tell us what happens.
Tell us about 1979 and work your way up to today.
From day one, when I entered this, we've heard the same narrative. 99% of cryptos are going away. So when is that going to happen? Here's my guess before I kick it to Johnny. Whenever regulation comes out and coins have to meet certain standards to be considered into a certain class of an asset, I think that's when the majority of these crap coins are going to get wiped out. And that could happen within 3-6 months. Could happen really, really quick. What do you think, Johnny?
Yeah, I think, that's a great question, by the way. Great question. If we break it back to the years of the internet boom, when Abs was in diapers, little baby Abs there with the pacifier in the diapers.
That's what he wants.
We look at history, and history showed us that the internet boom, the internet discussion, investment, all started to happen in the early around 93, 94. And by 2001, it busted. Boom, blew up. 7 years. 7 years. So that's probably, there's no reason to think it couldn't be something similar. You had about 6, 7 years of speculation, and they blow that son of a bitch up. Now, the interesting thing about this one is this thing has kind of been doing its own speculative bull run every 4 years. It's a little different until now. Now, if we put the pin in the ground and we say this is the beginning, similar to 1994, then you could make the argument 4, 5, 6 years from now, we may, the speculative phase may be over and the boom and the bust happens, and maybe 2030, everything starts to get wiped clean, consolidated, and wiped out, and only the men stand up. And the real companies that can survive are going to be there and make it. So,
Which is us.
That's my best guess, right? As of now, somewhere maybe we got 4, 5, 6 years before they really clean this thing up. But it's a little different, right? Regulatory clarity will definitely help clean it up quicker as well. And then there has to be, a wiping of all this crap, as Kevin O'Leary said. You need a few of these things to go under and take all the bad players out, so you can end up with a good, clean industry. And yeah, my guess is anywhere from 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, and Rob, I don't know if necessarily, I know we hear a lot that 99%. I don't know if it's going to be 99%, but me and Johnny have the same sentiment on a lot of this. And then I also believe what Abs is saying, that you have the regulation that's going to come in over time. But as far as the timing, I have always been saying that we're looking at 2030, 2031, 2032. That's when I think that we're really going to see it to start to get to a place where it's going to be going into the early stages of becoming a mature market, in my opinion. So I do think that we're looking more like 2030, 2031, 2032 when we see a lot of those falling off. But it could be sooner. It depends on what happens with the regulation and how accessible it is to continuously create these and meet that regulation. Because then too, depending on what the regulation is, you might be in a place where maybe the regulation is different, maybe the regulation is easier. Do I think that that's really what's going to happen? No, but could always be the case, in which case you could still have a lot of these things go to market. But I think that we're not even in the full beginning stages of anywhere near any type of real regulation, even though we're starting to see regulatory things happen. But for it to get into a mature regulatory spot and then to see that kind of go into the early stages of becoming a mature market, I personally believe that's going to be in the 2030s. Back over to you, Abs. Or Mario or Gonzo, if you want to share. Or crypto.
No, here, I want to give a little contrarian take, I guess. So you guys think that this is going to take 6 more years? You think we're going to
remember how old me and Johnny are.
Okay,
we're very patient people,
and Johnny, spectrum. But here's what I would say, guys. We're going to get through another presidency. We're going to get through another SEC chairman, a whole other set of SEC commissioners, and we're going to be sitting in the same place. I really hope you're wrong.
I don't think it's going to be in the same place. But if we're talking about seeing 99% of the coins going away, I mean, that's going to take. I don't think that's going to be an overnight 4 or 5 years. We're already in 2028. So why is it unlikely to think that it's going to be more into that 2030 spot?
If it's 2023 right now, my goodness, I almost said if it's 2025. If it's 2023 right now, that gives us about 6 solid years up until 2030, obviously. And the World Economic Forum can be renting everything to us, and we're living in our pods. But my Bitcoin will be worth $1 million, so everything's going to be okay, guys. Don't worry. Actually, you know what? I want to kick it to Crypto in My Veins. I see you got your hand up. Floor's yours, bro.
Okay, so how I see this going, I believe this cycle things are going to kick off. They'll probably be mature around 2030, where everyone's like stupid set for life if they're positioned correctly. But it's starting this cycle. Okay, something's going down in 26 or the end of 25. It's going to be bad. I think that might be when the dollar takes its big dump, because the BRICS, starting in January, they're going to start de-dollarizing their countries. They're going to stop. They've already stopped buying bonds. The bond market is in deep trouble. People aren't buying this stuff anymore. It's not worth it. everyone's going to be going into crypto, but something bad is going down in 26, and I think that's when the dollar's going to crash, and that's going to be when things really kick into gear and going into 2030 when we have full adoption and full use coming in, and every country in the world is using it. It's just a matter of time, but it is starting this cycle.
Yeah,
And so
that timeline that he's there, I could for the most part agree with that timeline, and it ends in that 2030 stages.
Yeah, it's funny because you guys actually agree. That was a very interesting take, though, Crypto. I like what you had to say. I actually think it's the same thing that you do. I think this is the first process. We have one more black swan, super negative catalyst because you move the markets through fear. If people are going to use central bank digital currencies, they're going to collapse fiat and they're going to provide central bank digital currencies as a solution. They're not going to say, oh, look at this alternative money. Do you guys want to use it? They're going to say, oh my God, your cash is worth nothing. This is backed by certain entities or it meets these certain requirements. This is much safer money. And they're going to off people that way. That can happen in 2027, 28. I think everybody on the panel agrees. Hopefully we got a difference of opinion. I always like when that happens.
Yeah, no defender. Do you have any thoughts?
I don't know. I have so many mixed feelings when it comes to like all these predictions we're making on this particular bull run that we're supposed to be getting next year and the next year. Just because I don't know, like I always think that if it's so easy for us to predict it because it's happened before in the past, then that's almost too easy. And I know that there's still a small percentage. There's a lot of variables. There's such a small percentage of people that are involved in crypto. So technically, there's such a small number of people that are even aware of the cycles. And the new people that are going to flood in, especially after crypto or Bitcoin kind of becomes officially not rat poison. I think that could be a reason as to why we repeat the cycle. But yeah, I just have so many mixed feelings. I don't want to say something that people are going to think I'm nuts and a super bear, but a part of me is just basically a part of me. I guess what I'm trying to say is that a part of me is prepared if we don't get a repeat of the cycle. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I'm not bearish. I don't think that it's not going to happen. I certainly don't hope that it's not going to happen. What I am doing is I am preparing mentally in case it does not happen. And so, yeah, that's how I feel about this whole thing. But as far as the conversation that we were having of 99% of crypto is going away, I definitely think that they could certainly make it where laws come out and crypto projects have to get registered. But at the same time, this is a global asset now. It's not just a U.S. thing. So like a lot of these projects are coming out and they have been coming out and operating outside of the United States. And so nothing really stops it from happening going forward if the United States comes out and says, hey, look, this is that form that the SEC has been saying we have to come and get registered. Now it really does exist. Come and get registered. But then what's stopping a blockchain company or a project in general to start in Dubai, for example? So I don't think that's going to be the solution unless a one world economy. I know Echo already left. He's the conspiracy guy, but yeah, that's what I think.
And I do want to point out real quick how dedicated our customer support team is for Merlin. If you guys don't know, we do have chat available. We get back to you as best as we can within a certain period of time that we say. But I'm noticing right now that Johnny is actually helping our customer support out while we are doing the spaces. So I just want to say that that's the dedication that man has to making sure that all of our customers are taken care of. And we do have a phone line that people can call to get their stuff answered. And we do video sharing to help people navigate through Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. So if you haven't done it, make sure that you go over to merlincrypto.com, get started on your free 30-day trial, and you never know, Johnny Crypto could be the one helping you set up your account.
That's right. And it's funny, Jerry. A lot of times I'll send people a text and they'll think it's a scam. And then I'll call them and they're like, oh my God, it's really you. They can tell by the voice. But yes, you could absolutely get a call from myself or Mario or Jackie or NFT Tones. We're a small business company, family company. And so if you join Maryland and you are having some issues, don't be surprised if you get a text from any one of us or hear us calling you. It really is us. And this is the only time we will contact you, anything, unlike all the other scams that are out there. But I do have one comment about Crypto My Veins. He made a point that I actually do agree with him that the BRICS are moving full force. The big boys are definitely moving, setting up the dollar for the end of its reign as the world reserve currency. That's obvious now. Anybody who's paying attention can see that those blocks have been set in motion. And now when you look at historically, how long does that take to happen? Well, go back and look at history. every single year, about 100 years after a country has been the world reserve currency, they usually lose it within about 10 to 12, 20 years. So 10 to 20. Now, I don't think it's going to take that long in this case. I think it's going to be faster, but I don't think it's going to be, you know, a flip of the switch and overnight we're going to go from everybody's using the dollar to everybody's using the bricks. It doesn't work that way. It's a very complicated, complex world, and it's going to take time gradually. It's probably going to be more like the 3 to 5 year period as you see the world weaning off the dollar and weaning onto the BRICS solution as people build more confidence with it. So I think so that's the one thing I would say different crypto market veins. I don't see that being the trigger either as this flip of the switch thing because of that. It's not going to work that way. It's going to take a long time to wean the world off the dollar. But in the meantime, the quality of life for everybody in the U.S. as that's happening is going to get worse and worse. Higher standards because look at what happens to any country that loses the world reserve currency. End up with a bunch of your dollars or your currency being dumped by every country who no longer needs it. And we know that when the supply increases and the demand goes down, that's a very, very bad thing. We're going to have super hyperinflation. And at some point, let's hope we don't live to see it. Eggs in our milk are going to cost $100 or $200, or look at Argentina. They're just burning the paper in the street. It's worth nothing. So, I don't think we're going to come to that extent, but I do think it could be, it could be life-changing quality for people in America. On a negative quality, I should say.
Rob Z, I'll kick it back to you.
I don't know if Crypto in My Veins wants to go. I'd like to follow up on that because I want to switch gears a little bit to ask a different question. So you can go ahead.
Thank you, Rob. You're right. You guys, I just really think this crash is coming in 26, and the way everything's going around the world right now, I think they're going to have a lot more war type of things happening around that time, and I think they're gonna crash it, let it crash, and they're gonna do an emergency fix on it because we're in the middle of a war and it has to be fixed right now, and that's when they're gonna switch everything over. It's gonna probably happen on a Friday night, guys, and they're going to try to have a resolution by Monday. So chaos doesn't ensue. It's going to be ugly.
I see you've been watching the X-Files scene where they talk about it happening on a Friday, the banking system collapsing, coming up with the solution. It's already been documented. And you know what? A lot of truth sometimes is told through movies. So it's possible.
X-Files was a show that was probably out before you were born that is about aliens and paranormal activity.
Yeah, but and conspiracy theories, right?
I'm just playing with that.
Yeah. Well, no, you're right. It was when he was in diapers.
I didn't know, so thanks for clarifying.
But on a serious note, that's not inconceivable that something could happen. I just don't think it's going to be, the world reserve currency dollar coming off that's going to do it. Something else like a war or a cyber attack or a banking collapse globally. Yeah, that could be something that could happen. And I've heard the same thing. I've heard a lot of chatter of people saying something's going to happen bad in 25, 26, or 27. So it wouldn't surprise me if something does happen then. And yes, I do agree as well that if it does, it probably will be on a Friday. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But guys, that's why you got to have diversification. Have your gold, have your silver, have your crypto. And if you got those, you better have the fourth precious metal. I like to call it, it's lead. Make sure you got plenty of that as well to protect all your stuff. And cans of tuna, because at least you can eat
lead and cans of tuna. And before we go to Rob, I just want to know, we'll go to Rob, and then we have some more options in the chat that we can ask too. But Rob, the floor is yours.
Rob, before you go, I just want to throw one thing out there. Think about it this way, guys. If the world was ending, Johnny's prepared to survive on tuna alone till the end of time. I just wanted to throw that out there.
And
Rob,
lead,
the floor is yours.
That's right. Don't forget the lead, abs. Lead and tuna. That might be our new.
If someone said you had to eat tuna for the rest of your life, I might have some reconsideration.
Well, you're right. I'm gonna have to throw some mayo. I need some mayo in there too. So but that could be like the name of a new talk show. Tuna.
Lead and tuna.
Lead and tuna. Cans of tuna and lead. Maybe that's a show there. I don't know. We'll have to see that. Anyway, Rob, go ahead. For the floor is yours, my friend.
I love that. Yeah. So, one question I want to ask you guys is with regards to market cap and how it relates to cryptos. I know, like, when people speculate on like the XRP price or whatever prices, right? A lot of people have consideration of market cap, but when it comes to the crypto market specifically, and when you talk about like utility coins, right, like these ISO coins, right? I'm just curious, how exactly does that relationship kind of work and how you guys think about it, right? Because if you say some crazy price like XRP is going to 10,000, right? A lot of people bring up the market cap point or factor, and they say like, oh, you could never get to that point. So I'm just curious, like, can you guys help articulate that and like educate me a bit on market cap and cryptos, and how they relate to the ISO coins and utility coins specifically?
Johnny Crypto, I'll let you take the market cap portion. I'll take the ISO portion.
Okay. So when you think of the market caps, there's usually a heated discussion when you try to bring that up, because everybody tries to say that the market caps don't apply to crypto. And I'm not even going to get into argue whether it does or doesn't. Here's what I will tell you. At the end of the day, we had a great discussion about this with your bro Quincy. Quincy, I wish he was around. I invited him tonight, but I don't know if he's in the room here. If he is, let's bring him up. But we chatted about this about 6 months ago in one of these sort of spaces. And the bottom line is this. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters that's going to drive the price of any of our cryptocurrencies up is going to be the institutional daily trading volume. That's all that matters. Not the retail trade, but the institutional daily trade volume. And so if that trade volume grows through utility origin, that's how you're going to get higher trade volumes. The higher trade volumes are then going to require the coin price to go up to handle whatever that trade volume is. And that is going to then set the default market cap. So that's the way to think about it. I don't think about it anymore of, oh my God, if it's 10,000, that's a $50 trillion market cap. That can never happen. Well, the reality is this. The market cap be whatever the hell the market cap needs to be to handle the daily volume of the technology if it gets adopted. That's why when you watch your Good Morning Crypto show, the only thing I care about and only talk is adoption. You want to see adoption. You want to see utility. You want to see these things getting embedded and built into as much background or back end solutions and DApps that they can be to drive volume. Because the volume, at the end of the day, if you're going to trade $1 billion in something, well, it has to be worth $1 billion. And so that value has to be there for that trade to happen. And that's what drives that up. So that's a different way to think about it. Rather than thinking about the market cap driving the price, think about the daily trade volume that needs to be there that will then drive the price, which then automatically sets the market cap. So I hope that helps kind of answer your question in terms of how to think about whether it's possible or not. The reality is just think about what the technology is used for. And then you say to yourself, here, I'll give you an example. So let's say XRP is going to be used for tokenization. Well, then the next question you ask yourself is, okay, if I'm going to tokenize them, how big is the tokenization market? And how much share will the XRP daily trade volume will it get? And whatever that share is of that market size, then that's going to set what that market cap is. So I hope that helps. Or Rob, if you have any follow-ups, I'm happy to answer that before Abs kicks in.
Oh, that's great. I love that. And Abs, if you want to toss in anything.
Yeah, Abs could talk about the ISO stuff.
Absolutely. And Crypto in my veins, I saw you hand up. I'll close us out here, but I know you have some comments, so floor is yours, and then I'll close us out.
What I want to say adds right on to what Johnny was saying. Everything he was saying was on point. I just want to add that it recently broke $112 trillion in global assets out there that you can buy. Okay. That doesn't include the derivatives market, which is between 500 and 600 trillion globally. So keep that in mind. If you think XRP can't get up to 50 trillion, it easily can if it grasps a decent chunk of that market. And everyone wants to use it because it's low fees and they can save a ton of money. It's going to help the debt market tremendously. It just has so much utility that the banks almost have to use it. They almost have to, just to save themselves from the debt market, which they've created.
I think you make a great point because nobody talks about this anymore, but last cycle, this was a huge narrative. Nostro, Vostro accounts. For every dollar you would like to transfer, there needs to be $1 in the current banking system and $1 in the corresponding one. It means if I'm going to send $100 from New York to London, there needs to be 100 in New York and 100 in London. When you use something like XRP, and I love to use it as an example because that's how I originally heard about the currency, you don't need money in the original account. That means that you need the money in the banking system that exists today. The number, last time I checked, is $27 trillion that could be released from bank accounts or what they call Nostro Vostro accounts today. That's just another portion of the market. So there's all these different facets of the banking industry that are just, for lack of a better term, effed up. And I think they're all going to change over these next decade or so. It's just about where the cards fall, as they say. Johnny, I want to hear your thoughts there. 27 trillion Nostra Vostro.
Again, it goes back to what I said. If the way to think about it is that's the size of prize that's available, and if the technology gets adopted to replace it, then that's the number it needs to grow to. So, if you say, what would you say, 27 trillion?
27 trillion, and that was back in 2018 when I saw Garlinghouse talking about it. So
Yeah,
I'm sure it's
so
more than
here.
it's more
Let's
than
just
that
do
now.
let's do some fun math for our friends. I don't have a calculator, so maybe one of you guys do. So if you take 20, we'll just make up some numbers.
Well, Mario's the human calculator. Don't worry.
Yeah. So if you got $27 trillion, and we want to, just for shits and giggles here, let's say XRP gets all 27 trillion of that, right? Now you're looking and say, well, okay, how many coins do they have out there in existence today? I think they have 50 billion?
Yeah, give or take.
Okay. All right. So who's ever got a calculator, take 27 trillion and divide that by 50 billion. What's that number? Who's doing the math? Jeremy doing the math?
I was doing it, but I didn't make the trillion big enough.
27 trillion by 50 billion. What is that?
It doesn't work on my iPhone calculator. So.
It's too big of a number.
I'm going to get like an exponential value at the end of it. So
hold on a second. I'll do it.
You have like a TI-84 there, or TI-83 since you're an engineer.
Hold on,
You
can
have a freaking engineering calculator there.
Hold on, I'll do it. Let's see here. My good old Samsung that you guys like to bash on actually can't. So hold on.
Turn your phone sideways.
Johnny, do you have your sundial out?
Oh my God.
It's 1.35 E plus 24.
No, hold on. Wait.
There is no way what calculator are you going to do this on?
On my phone. Hold on, it's working. All right, yeah. So there we go. 207. That's millions, billion, trillion. So 27 trillion, right there. All right, there we go.
You're not going to find this content anywhere else, guys.
Hey, I'm trying to help the public here. Hold on a second. That's 50 billion.
Wait, what equation are we doing?
So we want to do 27 trillion divided by 50.
Oh, we're doing divide. I'm an idiot.
Divide by 50.
Yeah. Because yeah. Hold on.
When you get a chance, listen to what's on this little hard drive thing.
No, it'll work. It'll work fine now. Hold on.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah. Because I don't know what I was thinking. 540.
540.
Yep.
$5.40?
No, $540.
$540. There you go. That's what it would take to get XRP to almost close to 589. Everybody likes to say, right? Yeah. So you need that kind of trade volume daily. If that's the daily trade volume, then that's how you get to. So there you go. So now you ask yourself, okay, that's not going to happen, right? They're not going to get 100% of the entire market. But what you're looking at is, could they get 10% of that? And could they get 10% of the tokenization market and 20% of the custody market? You know what I mean? You start adding all these things up and you check to see what that total trade. And that's how you're going to get to appreciation of the price. And that's why you always hear me saying, good morning, crypto. Nothing matters and nothing gets me excited more than adoption. I want to start seeing companies adopting it. And it needs to start today. Yep. And it's going to take many, many, many years.
And just one more time, where do you say that at?
On that, Jeremy, you're so smart. That's at 11 a.m. every day on the Good Morning Crypto Show at the 3T Academy YouTube channel. If you're not following us, you're missing out on a lot of great discussions and ideas we have there. Come check that out. The 3T Academy channel, Good Morning Crypto. Also check out Coach JV. You'll see his show on there a little bit earlier in the morning for a different perspective, macro and micro economics. You're missing out on a ton of good free content.
Yeah, and tomorrow's episode for CJV is going to be, I think it's going to be pretty fire. It's about, I'm not going to say what it is, but because I know what it is, obviously. But go.
Come on, Jeremy, you're going to give us a little tease?
I think it's going to be a really good one. So I'm not going to give it to you. It just has to do, let's just say this. There was a question that was asked that was talked about earlier, and it's going to probably elaborate more on that on one of the chat questions we asked. Or that was asked.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I'm not going to give it away because
I guess if you guys are really interested, go through this 3-hour podcast and figure it out for yourself. Which question do you think Jeremy is?
Yeah, you guys, let me know what question you think that it was in reference to by the end of the night, and we'll give you an extra 30-day free trial of Merlin if you
there
get it right.
There you go, 60 days free for the guy who figures it out or lady. And the good news is we have 3 more questions, I think, or 2 or 3.
Yeah,
So
but I don't know. Abs, are you able to continue for these other questions? I know that you were saying we were chatting.
Yeah, and we can continue. I might just have to jump off during the time.
all right, well, let's see if we can get through them real quick. Let's hop
All
into
right,
them.
so real quick, I just want to go back to Andrew real quick because Andrew will elaborate. I don't know if Andrew's still on here because I'm looking at the chat. So chain key Bitcoin. So Andrew asked the question earlier: thoughts about chain key tech on ICP? And when he said ICP, I was thinking of Insane Clown Posse. So I was like, what's he talking about? And so chain key Bitcoin CKBTC on the internet computer is part of a native integration with the Bitcoin network and the protocol level. This means that transactions occur directly between the two networks without any intermediary bridges, eliminating the vulnerabilities of bridge hacks. So did that help us in any way answer that question?
What was the question? Yeah,
okay, hold on, go back to the question.
Jeremy,
Hold on. Okay, so the question is, what? Oh wait, no, that's VeChain. Hold on. The question is thoughts about chain key tech on ICP.
Yeah, let's come back.
And then the elaboration is chain key Bitcoin on the internet computer is part of a native integration with the Bitcoin network of protocol, and essentially utilizing the networks can eliminate vulnerability of bridge hacks. You know, Andrew, come on our next one, and I'd love to bring you up, and we could definitely talk more about it. Just to make sure that we fully understand what it is that's being asked, and then we can definitely add some insight if we have any. But so we're gonna just move on here. So I have from JJ, if you're still on, joking justly, would setting up exit strategies based off of numerous predictions from people you follow in the crypto space. He's collected various price predictions and found low ends to high ends and averaged them out. So he's wanting to know kind of maybe what our thoughts are on if you do that to create exit strategies. He's also broken bags up into 25% portions and will sell as they rise.
Wow. I mean, I love this question because the reason why I question, and I got to answer it carefully, is what's his name? This is JJ, just joking?
Justly, hold on, back over here. Hold on. It is it's JJ, but the hashtag his handle is joking justly.
So
joking justly.
I'm just wondering if Joking Justly has access to our Merlin meetings because he actually stumbled.
I feel like everybody has access to our Merlin meetings.
Yeah, I feel like somebody's listening.
Says something. You're like, do they have access to our Merlin meetings?
I think so. And I say that because the question he's asking stumbles on a solution that we're working on a roadmap. So I can't really answer it too deep, other than to say that that's a good approach. I would encourage you to keep doing that, and I can tell you that I don't have an exact time frame, but I can tell you that Merlin will have a solution coming out maybe Q1 of next year where it can do something to assist people to help them create their exit plan. So I'll leave it at that, but I will say that yes, that's a great approach that he's doing, and we are already working on solutions to help you guys. So if you know your exit strategy, know how to want to implement it, great. If you don't know, well, we've got some things in the works to help you do it with some of your favorite influencers. I'm going to leave.
Not just that. There's also other things we have in the works too, but I think that's a great idea. I'm a big fan of looking at averages on lots of information, and utilizing averages for analysis in general. And so I think that taking those and looking at that and averaging them out is a pretty good strategy that I think that could work for you. And if it's working for you, I would say keep doing it. So So does anybody want to add anything to that? I know Mario fell off, I think. Abs, did you want to add to that?
No, I think it's a great strategy. Everybody has their own take, and I've seen so many different ways of doing it. Literally from saying I'm going to sell at $1, $5, and $10 to doing exactly what this person's saying, going to other people, figuring out what they're selling at. Here's the one thing I would say: if you're selling based on other people's targets, I don't want to say it's not a good idea. I just feel like when I exit plan, I did it in 2021 before Merlin. It was obviously on an Excel sheet, like me and Johnny have talked about. And in that cycle, I just went to other influencers and directly copied what they were doing, and I marketed it as my own, or not marketed it, but used it as my own within my own portfolio. This time around, I put my own touch on it. So let's say I found an influencer that's selling at $5 and someone's selling at $6 and someone's selling at $3. I may go in, calculate my profit, make comparisons, draw the Fibonacci, see where it lines up. I wouldn't just do it as simply as, I saw $6, I saw $8, I'm going to go $7.
Yeah.
If that helps.
And I'm not going to, again, we're not going to mention too much of the roadmap, but I think a key word here is having the insight from other people and doing something like Ab said. And so I think that when you're doing that, that's why I wanted Gonzo to talk more about the technical analysis piece and to have those conversations, because it's very good for you to have good base understanding of technical analysis. And then when you are following influencers or listening to the Good Morning Crypto show or listening to Coach JV's show, and they're talking about those things, you can take those numbers, then you can go and do your own research on it, and then you can do those comparisons. And you, in my opinion, you might even come up with an even better idea when you look at both of those things together, right? Because you're getting more of that information. And the most important thing when you're doing price predictions of any kind or just any type of analysis is the more information, the better. But yeah, one of our main goals with Merlin, not only to go along with the moniker of being the smartest way to track your crypto, is making sure that we have a pipeline of things that are coming out to make sure that we're offering the proper insights to every crypto in my veins. I know you have your hand up, sir.
Yeah, John had a question down the blue pill. I wanted to answer for him. His question is, how do you find good altcoins to do research on or to invest in or and whatnot? Something I did the last cycle, which absolutely was a banger for me. Like it worked so good, it changed my life, and I'm not looking back. Okay, but this is exactly what I did, and I mean it worked. I watched probably 40 to 45 different YouTubers, just random videos. I didn't know who they were, and I made a list of all the cryptos they were talking about, the best ones they liked. I looked at top 5, top 10, top 20, whatever I could find, and I made a bunch of lists, and I separated each list for each YouTuber. And then when I got done, I had probably 100 different cryptos, maybe 120, and I cross-referenced all of the different YouTubers, and it got me down to a list of probably 20 or so. And then I broke it down a little bit more by the ones I was interested in, and I started researching those specific cryptos to find the ones that I thought were going to be really good. And man, it worked out so good. I would suggest that. It's a lot of work, but if you really want to dig in deep and learn about it, that's what you need to do to get started, I think.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to chime in here, Jeremy. It's funny that you said that crypto in my veins. I did a similar thing, not 40 of them, but maybe a good 5 or 6 or 7 different influencers. And I noticed as I was watching them, you start to look and you hear a common theme among some of them on certain coins. And that actually, Altcoin Daily was one of the ones I used because they throw a bunch of them out there. But you start to find a few different influencers that you like, and I love that idea. I did a similar thing, and it actually does work. Because the ones they're talking about, again, not all, but you can cross-reference them, and the ones you hear a lot of people talking about the same, that tells you it's an early indicator of what you're going to hear later. So great for sharing that with our audience so they could hear that approach. I think that's a great strategy. I kind of use a similar, smaller version of that, but it does work. I love it. Thank you for that. Jeremy, do we have any other questions?
All right, guys, I think we're going to close it out here.
We do, but we're going to close it out. Abs, go ahead. And if you have questions, make sure to come back next time and get those answered. But Abs, go ahead and close us out, sir.
I love you guys. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to every single one of our speakers. Go tonight and think about creating an exit plan, because we talked about it for 2 hours. Hopefully some of this conversation made an impact. And if you really want to take a next step, go and check out merlincrypto.com today. 30 days absolutely free. We connect to so many exchanges: Coinbase, Uphold, Gemini. We also connect to independent wallets like Zoom, Exodus, Elipal, Trezor. I'm working on my memorization skills,
Ledger.
guys, but
Don't
that's a
forget
half
the
dozen
Ledger.
right there.
Don't forget Ledger.
We got Ledger, of course. My Ledger is actually connected, so go and take advantage of that. 30 days absolutely free. You can get in there. It's not one of these BS things where it's 30 days free and we trap you. No, it's as simple as clicking one button if you'd like to cancel. So get in there, check out what we've created, and give us some feedback. That is merlincrypto.com, merlincrypto.com. Go check it out today. 30 days absolutely free. Johnny, I want to give you a chance to close it out, and then we'll say goodbye.
Yeah, thanks, Ab. Let me just add one more thing to that, guys. The beautiful thing about Merlin, we're not a wallet, we're not an exchange. We don't custody your crypto, we don't custody your keys, your coins, nothing. We just display it. So if you're looking for safety, if you're looking for a place so that you can take all your coins, the exchanges, but then be able to see what they're doing and then be able to know when to get out, well, that's what Merlin does. That's what we built it for, is you can have peace of mind by getting off the exchanges and still know exactly what you're doing by reconnecting everything through Merlin without sharing any keys or coins with Merlin. So everything's safe, and then you get those priceless alerts to know when to get out. So I encourage everybody.
Johnny, one key component about Merlin as well, we talk a lot about the exit plan, but the combination of all your assets in one location really makes it simple to understand exactly what you own, exactly how much it's worth. When it's in Coinbase and it's worth 10,000, and then you have Uphold, it's worth 5,000, it's in your ledger and it's worth 2,500. It's not the same as it all showing up on the same screen, and those are absolutely fake numbers for the record. And you easily being able to calculate what you're looking at. So I think that's another thing that really sets Merlin apart, as opposed to just using some standard wallet.
You nailed it right on the head, Abs. I love the fact that today, while everything was pumping this past week, I just popped open my Merlin account. I'm like, holy cow, I'm up that number. And then I just clicked the daily column gain, and I could see which coins gained me the most. And it didn't matter where I had them, because I've got them spread in 3 different places. But in Merlin, I could see the exact value, what my average cost is, what my actual gain is on it, and I can make a decision right now. I'm like, damn, I'm up that much. Boom, I can go sell some today. And so, yeah, that is the beauty of it.
Cardano was pumping, my friend. Cardano was pumping.
Favorite coin.
Cardano was pumping and you were dumping. But anyway, I just want to say thank you to everybody tonight for coming out. I hope if you learned one thing tonight from us, then great. We're glad. We really just want to help to improve lives, and that's what we're trying to do out there. So we hope that you walk away with something new. If you haven't already, please follow everybody who came up to speak tonight and continue to just build the community so we could all help each other. So thank you guys all for that. Have a good night, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in when are we doing this again? I know with Christmas time, we're doing the next one.
We'll see you guys in 2024, I believe.
No, are we doing? I think we're doing one more this month.
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
I jumped the gun there. So we'll see you.
It should be on Johnny's calendar from the 1800s if he looks on his desk over there.
Oh, yeah. Actually, let me look on that real quick, and I will tell you if we are doing one on the 19th. I don't see it. Nope. I think I have
All right. Well, we'll either see you sometime in December or we'll see you in January in the new year, but you will see us again. Tonight's show is hosted by none other than Abs from the 3T Good Morning Crypto Show on the 3T Warrior Academy YouTube. You can check that show out Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And he is always with, for most of the time, Johnny Crypto, who we like to call the Italian Stallion, who's also one of the founders and co-founders and inventors of Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto, along with our amazing Merlin team. Again, my name is Jeremy. I'm the monitor during these X Spaces. I'm the Chief Finance and Operations Officer for Merlin, and also one of the founders and owners of 3T Warrior Academy. So make sure that you head on over to 3T Warrior Academy and check that out. You can also follow me on social media at Age of Jeremy, wherever you get social media, and you can follow Abs right here on X at 3TGM Crypto. These spaces, again, are always brought to you by Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. Not only can you use Merlin to track your coins across wallets and exchanges in one simple, secure web app, Merlin allows you to set up those extra strategies for your coins so you know when it's time to sell. And this week, we did release the ability to connect to wallets such as Zoom, LEPOL, Trezor, and Solodex. If you head on over to merlincrypto.com, you can see all the other connections that we have. And one of the things that we are very proud of is we're putting the hands back in the power of the people, and you can make adjustments and changes and add your coins to make sure everything is exactly how you need it to be inside of your portfolio inside of Merlin. So that being said, make sure that you follow us here on the X app at Get Merlin Crypto, and then on Instagram and Threads at Merlin_crypto. And with that, we will see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Merlin Crypto Market Update located on the X app. I'm Abs, your host and Senior Engagement Officer at Merlin, and we hope you enjoyed this episode from our Merlin X Spaces. Remember, you can catch us live every other Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the X app at Get Merlin Crypto. If you want to take your crypto tracking to the next level, don't miss out on our free 30-day trial at merlincrypto.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.